April 6th, 2020. Before we get started, just a few notes. Obviously, we've got a different setup here. We're still integrating technology into our meetings as things progress here. So we will have the members present here tonight, Traxler, Reed, and Johnson, and we have Interim Administrator Dave Berner, Clerk Pat Gable, and new City Administrator Kyle Ellison with us this evening. Welcome, Kyle. Just a reminder, since we'll be using Zoom, we will have staff available to participate through video conference, and we also have Alder Katie Ryan participating via Zoom, and we have Alder Jason Kylan participating via Zoom as well. So please be patient, and we'll try to recognize and keep track of people as they want to speak. With that, can you please take a roll call, Pat?
Gray is absent. Johnson, Reed, here. Ryan,
here.
Kylan,
Here.
Tome,
Here.
Traxler.
Here.
Thank you. If able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting has been noticed in accordance with state statutes and local ordinances. Next item is to approve the agenda. Unless there's any alterations or deletions, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. On to correspondence and communications. Again, due to the COVID-19 health crisis, city staff needs to minimize attendance at the council meetings and City Hall per Governor Everett's directive. Citizens wishing to make public comment at this meeting were urged to call the number on our agenda. All comments would be limited to 3 minutes in length, and they would be done via phone call. Do we have anyone in queue for citizen comments at this time, Lisa?
I don't have anyone signed up, but we have 350-5251. I'm not sure who that is.
Okay, can we find out if that's someone that's...
Yeah, if you're calling from 350-5251, can you please state your name? There you go. You're unmuted now. So 920-350-5251. Who is this?
It's Patrick Vandersanden.
Oh, hi, Patrick.
I didn't register to speak. I just registered to listen and answer questions on item number 9.
Oh, okay.
If there are any. So I don't have any comments. Just I support the MOU.
Great. Thank you, Patrick.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. With then, it appears at this time we do not have anyone else queued up for citizen comment or correspondence and communications. So with that, we'll move on to the consent agenda. This evening on the consent agenda, we have the Council and Committee of the Whole meeting minutes for 3/24/20, and also applicators for operators licenses for the term of July 1, 2019 to June 30th, 2021. We have 2 names in the packet for those licenses, and that would be for Brandy L. B. Craft and Thomas M. Wagner. Are there any questions on anything on the consent agenda? Katie and Jason, are you okay?
Yep.
All right, so if there are no questions on the consent agenda, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda as it was presented.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and 2 seconds to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion on that motion? If none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, move on to new business number 1 then. The first item is to consider and take action on the final resolution 6-20, the final resolution authorizing public improvements and levying special assessments against benefited properties. This was reviewed at the last committee of the whole meeting for the final time, has been reviewed several times. With this resolution, it's my understanding that the preliminary assessment report dated February 20th, 2020 is now amended and adopted and approved as the final assessment report of the city engineer at this time. The few changes that we did discuss with Jason are contained in this final resolution as far as adjustments. And it's also my understanding that the city, that we are waiving the first required payment for special assessments to November 1 of 2021. And we also have the term of repayment and range of assessments contained in here as well. Are there any questions from the council on the final resolution? Andy?
Mayor, my question is maybe not necessarily on this final resolution, but it's on this topic. I am curious, if the council is going to consider having some type of policy going forward based on some of the adjustments we made during this round, such as like the double assessments on, like for the people that were on Charles that also had land on this land, on Hibbard. How can the council make that as a part of the policy or guideline for Jason going forward, instead of just winging it like we have been doing when these cases come up?
You raise a good point, and I've had thoughts about that as well, and I think Hibbard's been a unique project to say the least, but it is hard to, I guess, make adjustments that don't conform or fit into some sort of policy that can be used on the next set of projects. That if we're making just sort of arbitrary decisions, how do you follow suit and maintain continuity to the next project? So I think that we've had a lot of thorough discussion about this project and tried to do our best. I know the connections and the sidewalks, etc. Those are things that we've talked about in other projects before, but I think we've gotten into some new territory at this project. So
I appreciate that answer, and I would just urge that that just gets talked about when you guys do a post-op of this project.
I agree. I think I've talked to Matt and Jason about possibly just having a resolution as a city of what our expectations are and having the city council approve that, so staff has some clear direction when we go into these projects of what we're attempting to do here, and to change that would require some action of the council, I guess, to deviate. And I think just having consistency is, as much as people may not want to admit it, we need to have consistency so there aren't as many surprises when we do this project. So I appreciate your comment on that. All right. Jason or Katie, did you have any questions on the resolution? Are you okay? Do you have any questions?
I'm good.
Jason,
I have
you
no questions.
You have no questions, Katie?
Nope.
Okay, all right. If there are no further questions, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the final resolution 620 for the levying of special assessments.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 6-20, authorizing public improvements and levying special assessments against benefited properties.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion from Johnson, a second from Tyland to approve the final resolution 620. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing no discussion, could we please take a roll call on that, Pat?
Johnson?
Aye.
Reed? Ryan?
Aye.
Tylen?
Aye.
Traxler?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. New business number 2, consider and take action on the contract for Newman Pools for continued work on the pool leak, as outlined in the memo here. With the budget amendment adopted with resolution 320, we had some funding left over in there to do the necessary work to both finish locating and repair the aquatic center from some no proceeds that were left over. It looks like we have a balance of about $15,000, and if we approve this contract in the amount of roughly $5,900, we will still have about $9,000 left in there. I know that the opening of the pool may be in question at this point, but we still need to get the pool fixed. Regardless, we need to locate the actual problem, and hopefully get the scope of the repairs needed and also repaired in this contract, and it seems like that's what this contract is provides, is to go in after the excavation was done and to test the remainder of the pipe and repair the known breaks for the PVC that we have there right now. So, are there any questions on this? Amy Jo is available. Well, but it seems pretty straightforward. Trina, go ahead.
Oh, for Amy Jo, I was just wondering about what amount of length of pipe would be covered, or what percentage of pipe would be covered in this contract for looking at and for possibly repairing. I see them list the width, but I'm just not sure what exactly we're authorizing for the amount of repairs.
So are you asking what's covered under insurance or what would be covered under Newman pools coming back? I'm sorry, you're kind of breaking up a little bit.
Oh,
for me.
sorry. The second question. The second one.
The second question, okay, so they are coming back to repair a 4-inch and a 12-inch pipe that have fern hose on it. And then they're gonna pressure test the remaining gutter system and those, and the additional back end of the 4-inch and 12-inch pipe.
Okay,
So they estimated $5,900, but it may necessarily not even be close to that amount. I know the other quotes that they had provided us, we did not pay the full amount that we were quoted.
Nice, thank you.
You're welcome.
The fern coat repairs that they were located are basically just clamps, and they're taking those off and putting actual PVC in to make sure that those aren't leaking. But when they do the pressure testing after that, I think they can determine whether there's any other leakage that we haven't detected. We want to make sure that we've tested every pipe before we decide to run the pool again. So there could be additional expenses above and beyond this, though, that if they did find other piping, they just haven't been able to test it all yet. So, good question.
Correct.
All right, thank you, Amy Jo. Any further questions on the Newman pool contract? Katie, Jason, you all right?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, with no further questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the contract with the Newman pools for continued work on the pool leak.
Motion to approve the Newman pool contract as presented.
All right, we have a motion from Reed, a second from Traxler to approve the Newman pool contract, the amount of $5,910.92 is the estimate. Is there any discussion on the motion? If there's no discussion, if you would please take a roll call, Pat.
Reed, Ryan,
Aye.
Tylen,
Aye.
Traxler,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. On to item number 3, new business number 3. Consider and take action on the contract with Wing 3 to remove asbestos at the senior center. This was reviewed at the committee of the whole, and actually we've discussed this project for several years. This was a surplus carryover of funds for the senior center to remove the remnants of the asbestos flooring in the building, and to also carry on with the next item, which would be to put new flooring in there. The bid for the asbestos removal is $5,983, and being that the senior center is currently closed, this is the perfect time for us to finally take care of that project. I believe work will begin shortly after the election, and since the building's closed, it's the perfect time to do it, so I appreciate Kim Lang getting together these estimates, getting them to us so we can finally complete that project that's been going on for several years. So, any questions on this? It was budgeted for, carried over of funds. No questions. Entertain a motion to approve the contract with Wing 3 for $5,983 for the asbestos removal.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Wing 3 for $5,983 for the asbestos removal at the senior center.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Wing 3 for the asbestos removal. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, can we please take a roll call, Pat?
Ryan,
Aye.
Tylen,
Aye.
Traxler,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. It's been a companion piece to that is once the asbestos is removed, there will be new flooring installed immediately after, and we have a bid from Home Expressions, a local company, for flooring installation in the amount of $5,984.25. Is there any discussion on the bid for the flooring install? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve that contract for the flooring installation.
Motion to approve the contract with Home Expressions for $5,984.25 for the flooring and vinyl and tile installations.
Motion from Reed, second from Traxler to approve the contract with Home Expressions for the flooring installation at the senior center. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, could we please take a roll call, Pat?
Tylen,
Aye.
Traxler,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. On to item number 5 then. Consider and take action on task order 2020-02 for the 2020 State Highway 89 sanitary sewer design with Wisconsin DOT coordination. Task order from Rupert Milkie to essentially complete the remainder of the design. I believe this goes 90 to 98% design work on that. This has been budgeted through the collection system replacement fund. The amount for the task order is $20,944. And again, this was reviewed at the last committee of the whole. Jason is available if anyone on the council has any questions for him on the task order. Katie or Jason, did you have any questions for Jason?
No.
No. No questions.
Anyone up here have any questions for Jason? All right, if there are no questions, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the task order for the sanitary sewer design for Highway 89.
I'll make a motion to approve task order 2020-02 for the 2020 State Highway 89 sanitary sewer design with WISDOT coordination for the amount of $20,944.
Second.
A motion from Traxler and a second from Ryan to approve task order 2020-02 for the State Highway 89 sanitary sewer design with Wisconsin DOT coordination in the amount read by Alder Traxler. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing no discussion, could you please take a roll call, Pat?
Traxler,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reed, Ryan,
Aye.
Tylen.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. On to item number 6 then, which is another task order with Rupert Milkie, 2020-03 for the 2020 street maintenance. This is a budgeted item for the engineering services to help assist us with expending the road maintenance budget for 2020. Pretty straightforward. We do this every year. We have a street maintenance budget with Jason. He'll be bringing forward recommendations for the street maintenance for the year. If there's any questions, Jason's available again. Are there any questions for Jason? All right, see no questions, so entertain a motion to approve task order 2020-03 for the street maintenance in the amount of $10,698.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve task order 2020-03 for the 2020 street maintenance in the amount of, I lost it, 10,000, what was the dollar amount?
$10,698.
$10,698.
Second.
Motion from Traxler, second from Reed to approve the task order from Rupert Milkie, 2020-03 for the 2020 street maintenance program. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, can we please take a roll call, Pat?
Traxler,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reed, Ryan,
Aye.
Tylen,
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We have another task order here. Task order 2020-01 for the 2020 Water Quality Trading Assistance. This is associated with the water quality training, the water quality trading program. We do have several active agreements through that program, and my understanding is that this is going to help administer and kind of guide those agreements. The amount for the task order is $24,180. This is budgeted as well. Budget $25,000 with some remaining funds in that line item. Jason again is available for any questions or explanation on this. Anyone have questions for Jason? Seeing no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the water quality trading service agreement. Water quality trading assistance task order 2020-01.
I'll make a motion to approve task order 2020-01, the 2020 water quality trading assistance in the amount with the amount of $24,180.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve task order 2020-01 with Rupert Milkey in the amount read by Alder Traxler. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will you please take a roll call.
Johnson?
Aye.
Reed? Ryan?
Aye.
Tylen?
Aye.
Traxler?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Sticking with the topic of water quality trading services, number 8, consider and take action on water quality trading service agreement with Columbia County Land and Water Conservation Department. The memo in the packet, I think, outlines this very well, but we're going to be working with the county to implement these practices, the water quality trading program with the county, and they're going to help assist us with that. This agreement outlines that agreement and how it is carried out in the future. Again, Andy, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, Mayor, is this agreement with, this is between the city, I'm sorry, this is between the city and the county, but is Rupert Milkey acting on our behalf? Or is this going to be run through like the mayor and the city administrator?
My understanding is that the city engineer is going to be assisting us. Is that correct? Jason, Letha?
Yes, that is correct. That's what our task order was for, was to help assist on behalf of the city to help orchestrate the implementation of the county.
Any further questions on the agreement then with Columbia County? All right, if there are no further questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the water quality trading service agreement with Columbia County Land and Water Conservation Department.
I'll move that we approve the agreement between the City of Columbus and Columbia County for a water quality trading program.
We have a motion from Johnson, second by Traxler to approve the agreement. This, I don't believe, has any monetary value, so I think voice vote is okay with that. So unless there's any further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you. Move on to number 9 then. Consider and take action on the MOU agreement with Columbus Oddfellows Lodge number 40 for Butterfly Garden. Matt did send out some updated information for the MOU today, and I believe we had updated copies of that information left at our desk this evening. There were some things that were brought up in the last conversation about some language that Attorney Johnson wanted to see added, which I believe they've all been implemented into the current agreement that we have. The one item that was updated here in our memo was the need for insurance, and I believe that there's been conversation and communication between the Odd Fellows and the city, and that we're comfortable moving forward, as is that the insurance provider indicated that they had no concerns with the project and the city would be covered if anything should happen. So he did say that if someone filed a suit against the Odd Fellows, they would be on their own, and we understand that. So. And we also have Patrick Vandersanden from the Odd Fellows, if anyone has any questions for him on the MOU. Trina?
Oh, not a question. I'm very much looking forward to this. Super excited. I noticed where it says 1 acre garden with a mixture of nature plants. I think they mean native plants.
Is that on the updated?
It's on the updated one.
Okay, which paragraph?
Second paragraph.
Nature plants and grasses designed to attract and support pollinators. Patrick, can you hear us?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. In the second paragraph on the agreement, it says approximate 1 acre garden with a mixture of nature plants and grasses. Was that supposed to be native plants, from your understanding?
Native, that sounds more like the intent, so I think maybe we've got a typo there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
We'll just change that to native. Any other questions on the MOU? Matt Schreiber is also available. He's been working on this project with the Odd Fellows as well, but I think the MOU language was cleaned up a lot since the last meeting. It seems like staff is happy with what we've got currently. All right, if there are no further questions on the MOU, I'll entertain any action then on new business number 9.
I'll make a motion to approve the MOU agreement with the Columbus Odd Fellows Lodge number 40 for a butterfly garden, amending the memorandum of understanding to say mixture of native plants instead of nature plants.
Second.
Motion from Draxler, second by Reed, to approve the MOU agreement with the Columbus Odd Fellows Lodge 40 for butterfly garden installation. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you for joining us, Patrick.
Yep, thank you for your support.
All right, we'll move on to item number 10. Consider and take action on an extension agreement for Centrix phone services with AT&T. Dave and I have talked about this a bit in the last several weeks. There was discussion that was brought forward to the council during the annual budget meetings about the need for a new phone system. We've been having some problems with it. Unfortunately, we didn't have the funding to upgrade the phone system in the budget process or through the capital projects budget amendment. So it's come to the point where I believe our agreement is lapsing, and we need to re-up that agreement to maintain the current phone service that we have at the current cost. I think Attorney Johnson has been part of this conversation to understand the contract that we have. I think Pamela's done some research with the state on this. I think the only question that I had kind of floating around in my mind at this point was, are we bound to a 5-year agreement, or will we be able to terminate the agreement if we decide to upgrade the phone system in the within that 5 years or before that 5 year? Do we know if we have an answer on that?
Do you want me to take that?
Please, if you have an answer, that would be wonderful.
Yep. So if we stay with AT&T within that 5 years, there is no fee to terminate. But if we go with a phone company outside of AT&T, then there is a fee. The person that we have in contact with at AT&T thought that the fee was nominal, but she didn't have an answer for me on what the fee would be if we went with someone other than AT&T.
Okay. Thank you, Pamela Frederick, for that answer. Trina, did you have a question?
Oh, I had a question on two of the categories. I didn't understand what they were. One is conversion installation charge, and almost for everything it says 0, versus the subsequent installation charge versus, lots of amounts. I wasn't sure when a subsequent installation charge comes into effect.
So I think that only relates if we add more lines to our existing phone system.
Plus the conversion installation charge is all at 0 because there's no conversion happening and we're just continuing the same service. That's my understanding anyway.
Right.
Thank you. I just wanted to check on that. There's a big difference between the zeros column and all the numbers in the other column, and wanted to make sure what was going on. Thanks.
Right. Any other, Andy? Go ahead. You have your
Comment. When this was originally presented to us back in October of 2019 in the workshop to upgrade our system, never once was it told to us that there was an option to extend the contract. Why? Why is this just now coming to us? Why couldn't we discuss this in October?
I can answer that, Mayor.
I appreciate it.
When I became involved, my understanding was that there was no answer to that question from the state, and that just recently came through. And that's why it's coming forward now, because the state couldn't give an answer.
Okay, that's good to hear, because it was presented to us as a dire circumstance that we would have no phones after a certain date. So this is good to hear. But yeah, there was really no explanation of that in the packet, so that's why I asked. So thank you.
I'm not going to throw myself into the middle of this either because I don't have a complete understanding, but I know we were having some phone issues late last year, and my understanding was that it had to do with the infrastructure in the building, copper wires, and I believe when we started looking and pricing a new phone system, we were looking at converting into a VoIP system, something that's more modern. That was my concern about locking into a 5-year agreement here, that if we continue to have infrastructure problems, then we need to look at a new system. Can we do that without repercussions? So I think we're in a good situation now where we don't have to have a price increase, but hopefully the phone system holds together until we can continue that conversation and plan for the future. All right, unless there are any further questions on item number 10, I'll entertain a motion to approve that extension agreement for Centrix phone services with AT&T.
I'll make a motion to approve Centrex phone services with AT&T.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the extension agreement for Centrix phone services with AT&T. Any discussion on the motion? If there's no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Move on to number 11, consider and take action to suspend the rules and approve an agreement for temporary accounting services. Dave, since you've kind of been at the center of all this, I'm just going to let you go through and explain what's happened. We've got a nice outline in the memo here, but I think time is of the essence here, and I think you can explain that.
Mayor, I think the council appreciates the timing with the recruitment process for the new administrator and the announced retirement of the finance director May 1st, and the change in the job description with the administrator adding responsibilities of the treasurer, and also in my assessment and review with the finance director, obviously the job description does not describe what she's actually doing, and that needs to be updated. The proposal that I'm suggesting to you tonight is that you take this out of your normal order and authorize the city administrator, Kyle Ellison, to have the authority to negotiate an agreement with a reputable auditing firm to provide temporary accounting services to the city. The money budgeted for the finance director could be used to pay for that. The timing of this is such that this needs to be it needs to be set into place. And again, my opinion is that it needs to be administered by your current city administrator, not your interim administrator. And so that the timing of all that is such that obviously the administrator started today. If you approve this recommendation, he can go forward. We had a conference today with Clifton Larson Associates. They're a auditing firm that submitted a proposal to you when you went out for requests for proposals, and we're looking at other proposals. You ended up awarding a contract to Baker Tilly, who's your current auditor. We did also have discussions with Baker Tilly. The difficulty with that arrangement is that they are the auditor, and there's concern on their part for having a separation or independence with performing the accounting functions and the managerial decisions that have to be made, and also doing the audit. And that's in the generally accounting standards, that you have to have that separation. And so we went to we asked the auditors that do the audit for the water and light utility, and they basically weren't responsive or interested. But the other firm that submitted a proposal to the city, Clifton Larson Associates, is very interested. They're a substantial firm, and they have done this many times, where they provide a qualified accountant that has the qualifications and the experience with municipal accounting, and have come in, have worked with clients and other municipalities to provide that service on a temporary basis, similar to what you've done with Public Administration Associates to provide an interim city administrator. So it'd be similar to that, except this would be an accounting function. But I would ask that you take this out of order and give the directive to the city administrator to negotiate an agreement and make arrangements to work, in his best judgment, which I'm sure will be good, to provide that service and coordinate and make that all work for you, and report back on the 21st. So there's some congruent things coming together here that if we go through the normal process, we're going to be into May before a decision is made, and obviously the finance director is retiring on May 1st. And ideally, the administrator would work out an agreement. The cost can be paid out of the current budget. There would be an overlap with Kim for a week or two. That would be great. And the administrator and the HR administrator, Pamela Frederick, can work with you and bring you back a job description and approving a salary range, posting for the position, and then going through the recruitment process. And you would have an overlap with that temporary person with the new person, sometime in May. So that's I think the best plan going forward. So do you have any questions? Kim's on the line. If you have any questions.
Sounds like having some overlap, I think, is good, and then having someone in place for Kim retires May 1st, and then giving us some flexibility to get the position there for that job as well.
And if I may, Mayor, add that when that temporary person comes in and gets familiar with the system, is managing the accounting functions for the city and working under Kyle, obviously, that they would be available with the interview process for the next person to assist, offer their expertise there, and obviously also when that person is hired to work with them for a smooth transition.
Envision the temporary accounting services to be like a part-time consultant. Probably wouldn't be a
Be
full-time.
part-time. We were thinking about 3 days a week, 20 to 24 hours a day. The accountants that we talked to today asked if they, obviously we're in a coronavirus environment now with how we're trying to operate and balance safety of employees and the public, and they asked if this person could do some work offline. And my answer to that, Kyle needs to work through this, but I think it could be a combination of both, with some on-site time and working offline as well to get into the accounting system and do certain things. And Kim has done a good job of getting things set up for Kyle, and also planning to do some work with him in the transition, and the staff, the internal staff, to do a little bit more in the interim as well. So there's been some initiative already put forth to plan for this transition between the current finance director and the next one.
So if you're asking the council to waive the rules this evening, we would be granting the authority for the new city administrator to go ahead and essentially approve an agreement for the temporary services between now and the 21st. He would report back to the council on the 21st about where we are, or if he signed an agreement or secured those temporary services.
Right.
And then also on the 21st, we would probably have at least a rough job description for the new position.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think it'll be more than rough. It'll be a job description he should feel comfortable recommending by that point.
Okay.
And the salary range, recommended salary range. Okay. And then once you approve that, then the position could be posted.
Questions?
I guess I have a question. Kim, this is for you. Do you think that between potentially starting on the 22nd and May 1st would give you enough time to work with this new person, interim person, to allow them to take over on an interim basis?
When we met, or had the conference call today with Clifton Larson, and they talked about the caliber of candidates that they could bring in, many of them sounded like they probably would have CPA degrees, accounting degrees, which I think if I can have the 2 weeks with them, I can give them a good base of knowledge that hopefully as they serve part-time, they'll garner more knowledge and be able to help facilitate maybe training that new person, or like Dave said in the interview process. But so I do think that 2 week period would work. It's tight. There's a lot of information to share, but it's better than where we are right now with, if we didn't do this and waited until after the 1st, it would be really difficult.
Thank you. I guess that's why I'm wondering, is it necessary that this come back before the council on the 21st? Or what are we accomplishing on the 21st? Because we're actually talking 8 days, or if she's retired on the first 7 days, I'm not sure if she's working the first or not. I'm wondering if we're cutting it too close by making it come back before the council on the 21st, or if there's some real efficacy and need to come back on the 21st.
Go ahead, Steve. I think, my assumption is that it would be a report back to the council on what had occurred, but we're granting the authority to Kyle to go out tomorrow and negotiate a contract. And then, so there would be no further action required, just a follow-up, so.
So then there would be a full 2 weeks.
Yep.
Terrific, thank you, I'm calm, thanks.
Am I thinking right? Okay. Okay. Did you have anything else, Dave?
No, sir.
All right. Hopefully that clears up any confusion. Any questions from Katie or Jason on this issue?
No.
Seeing none?
Nope, sounds good.
All right. If we want to move forward, then this evening, the first thing we would need to do is make a motion to suspend the rules.
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion from Ryan, second by Traxler to suspend the rules. Any discussion on the motion? If none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The rules have been suspended. And we can take a motion to authorize the city administrator to approve an agreement for temporary accounting services.
I'll make a motion to allow the city administrator / treasurer to negotiate any contract for temporary accounting services.
I'll second.
Motion from Traxler, second by Ryan to allow the city administrator to approve an agreement for temporary accounting services. Is there any discussion on that motion? If none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Kyle's work list is growing by the minute. All right, next item then is to consider and take action on claims in the amount of $761,989.48. Did check after last week, and it's the same on the claims packet and the agenda, so we don't have to amend it to remove a dime. Any questions on the claims? If there are no questions on the city claims, I'll entertain a motion to approve them as submitted.
Make a motion to approve the claims in the amount of $761,989.48.
Second.
Motion from Traxler, second by Ryan to approve the claims in the amount read. Is there any discussion on the motion? If there's no discussion, can you please take a roll call, Pat?
Johnson?
Aye.
Reed? Ryan?
Aye.
Tylen?
Aye.
Traxler? Motion carries.
Thank you. Move on to report of city officers. Dave, I'll let you go first if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. Well, this will be my last meeting with you, and I just wanted to give you a brief report on the day that we've had, and I have some concluding comments that I'm going to make, and I'll keep it brief because I know we want to move along and get through the evening and get home. So we've had a productive day, Kyle Ellison and I. It's been a busy day, and it's been a challenging day, as you can appreciate, with the governor's executive order this afternoon, and meeting as a staff, discussing how to respond to the executive order, and again, strategizing again how to conduct an election in the city. And so that took some time, but I think we had a productive day. I hope Kyle agrees with that. I will not physically be here tomorrow, but I will be back Wednesday with the staff, and I'll probably be wrapping up on Wednesday. So I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to serve the city of Columbus. It's been my pleasure to serve you, and when we first started working together, one of the general things I said is that I hope that my overall objective was to be a bridge between the last administrator and your new administrator, and I think that we've accomplished that, and we've we've accomplished some significant things together. I also wanted to express appreciation to the management team and to all the employees. I have not had the opportunity to get out and meet all the other employees like I had hoped to, and when this emergency hit, that was not an option for me. So I, for the most part, have worked closely with the department heads, some more than others, the employees here at City Hall, and I would just like to express my appreciation to all of them for their cooperation, their initiative, and the best way I can describe it, their can-do attitude and their work ethic. And particularly when we had these challenges, and obviously this emergency that we're all working under. Obviously, the city is an essential service to this community. This emergency to the state, the nation, and the world that we're all involved in. And Mayor, you described it very well. It's affecting everything that we do, personally and professionally. And I just can't thank them enough for their can-do attitude and the initiative to work under the circumstances and still provide an essential service to this community and protect themselves and the employees, but also protect and serve the public. I'd like to particularly thank you, Mayor, for the work that the working relationship that we've developed together. Your availability and flexibility with our schedules, and obviously you care about this community and you're dedicated to this community, and you're a good leader for this community at the right time. And I wish you all the success going forward, and I'm sure you're going to have a good relationship with Kyle. He's very capable, and I think and I can say at my age, he's an impressive young man. So, but anyway, I guess I just want to leave you with my appreciation, and that the time that we spent here has been good and valued. And if you need anything, give me a call. I'd be happy to respond to anything. And when we do have the ability to get together and fellowship again, I would love to bring my family back here and enjoy some time together. So wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for the leadership and guidance that you've given us, and I don't think anybody could have imagined when you started here that we would be in the times that we are right now. And you've done a fantastic job of keeping everybody calm and focused, and we had the right person in the right position at the right time. And thanks again for everything you've done. You know where we are now, and we hope that you'll come back and visit us when we get through all this.
If I could take a moment before you give your report, Mayor, I want to express my thanks to David and express how I really appreciated the professionalism you brought to the job, and the openness and dedication that you and your firm gave as an interim. You were really great to work with, and I just want to say thanks.
Thank you.
Well, we have a new face in the room this evening, and that is our new city administrator, Kyle Ellison. Today is his first day. We've been very excited to see this day, and obviously it's a stressful time right now for everything, but I know you've been dealing this in the community that you came from as well. So I know I look forward to working with you, building a relationship with you. But as Dave said, we've got great staff here, a caring community, and I think you're going to fit in great. So I don't know if you wanted to get up to the podium and say anything tonight, or if you're just sitting here, but the floor is yours.
button.
There you go. Yep.
All right. So actually, Dave and I talked about this a little bit ahead of time, and I said, well, I really don't think I need to get up and say anything. I think, this is really, as Dave is capping off his term, this is really a good moment to recognize Dave and all that he's accomplished, and you'll hear enough of me and from me for hopefully a long time from now. So just to let everyone know I'm excited to be here. I'm looking forward to working through the challenges that we're in right now, but also getting past that to the opportunities. So just happy to be here and looking forward to working with the team.
Welcome. Obviously, the governor's safer at home order remains in effect until April 24th. Obviously, today was a very exciting day with another executive order and court action, etc. For a while there, I didn't know if we are going to have an election tomorrow. I just need to thank Clerk Pat Gable for, I don't know how you've been able to survive this up and down and back and forth, and even leading up to this with trying to provide the ability for people to vote early and having later and extended hours. I know you and Jane have been really, really busy, your election workers, and I know city staff has been pitching in to try to help support you. And again, I have no idea if something's going to change between now and tomorrow morning. So thank you for handling all this. I know we try to do our best. We have a very engaged community. People like to vote, but we need to keep everybody safe. We really do. And to have all these changes happening daily is just, it's dizzying. So thank you for staying strong and doing what you do. So I appreciate that. I wasn't sure if I was going to have much to say about, Jason Tylen or Andy Traxler, because I thought they might be here for a couple more months after one of the rulings today. So that's changed again, but I really wanted to thank, Alderman Jason Tylen for his time on the council here. It's been a pleasure working with you. Thanks, for putting in a term. I think you realize from serving here how much work and commitment it takes to show up to meetings and do your research, but it's been great working with you, Jason.
It's been great work, all of you too.
And also Alderman Traxler, we worked together for 4 years. You served 2 years as a council president. I know you've put in a lot of time and dedication into this community through your service here on the council. I think we've learned a lot together. It's not about everybody agreeing or disagreeing on everything. It's about working together as a team and getting through and honoring the sanctity, I guess, of what we're supposed to be doing here as city government, which is respecting the position. And you've done a great job of that. I remember trying to convince you that you could be city council president 2 years ago, and I'm glad I convinced you because I think you've done a good job. And I know we won't see the last of you. I certainly hope that I can convince you to volunteer for a board, committee, or commission. But thanks a lot for the time that you've invested in serving the community.
Thank you, Mayor. If you don't mind, I prepared a little something. I didn't actually want to do this. And again, I'd written it and then deleted it and then had to go to my deleted folder after the Supreme Court rule. First of all, I just wanted to thank everyone, from my wife, who's put up with me not being home a lot, and put up with me maybe putting council stuff ahead of dinner some nights. She eats late now, so I got her trained on that, but it's not good. But now we eat at like 5 o'clock, so it's probably back to normal. I wanted to thank my fellow council members for all your hard work. I wanted to thank the staff. I wanted to thank department heads to Pat, Attorney Johnson for all of his guidance, Jason Letha. Just everyone that's been here for us and helped me out over the last 4 years. Welcome to Kyle. That was a really long day when we ended up picking you. I have no doubt that we made the right choice. So I wanted to welcome you to Columbus. And with that said, I do have a lot more. So That was just the pleasantries. As I sit up here and I learned so much from the mayor over the last 4 years, and being, selected as city council president twice by the body here, I just want, obviously you guys are going to have to make a tough choice in a few weeks on who your next city council president is, and I just hope that you'll select someone that will put in the time outside of the meeting times, outside of the being in this room, to prepare for the meetings and ask the right questions, and talk to your fellow council members. If they have questions, just be available to them. That also said, I want to urge all council members to always prepare for your meetings. I don't, it's come up where people have been surprised that an agenda item was on the agenda even though they suggested it to be on the agenda. And something like that only happens if you're not looking at your packet before the meeting. I also want to remind my fellow council members that you've been elected to a district, maybe you're District 3 or whatever, but you actually represent the whole community, so every decision should be made with that in mind. I also want to urge the mayor and staff to continue to hold the annual council member orientations. That was very helpful. We didn't have those the first couple of years I was on, but the last 2 years we've had them, and I learned something each year after that. I also want to urge the council members to take your appointments to various boards, committees, and commissions seriously and attend as many meetings as you can. Those board meetings, end up coming up to here most of the time, and if you're not there, you can't be a part of the solution. You're just going to come here and vote on something that you probably should be helping present. And then, most importantly, any decision that you guys are making on city council, just make sure you're making it in the best interest of the community and not yourself for personal gains. You want to make sure that you have to draw a line in the sand. You have to abstain from issues that maybe they're not officially a conflict of interest, but maybe there's an appearance of one, and we have to be transparent. Anyway, with that said, thank you for that. It's been my pleasure to have been elected to city council twice and served the city of Columbus for the last 4 years. It was an honor to have been elected your city council president for the last 2 years. We've accomplished a lot, but there's still a lot that needs to be done. And please don't lose sight of some of those important issues like roads and sidewalk infrastructure and maintenance. And yes, Mayor, I will probably likely volunteer at a board or two for you. And you never know. This isn't necessarily goodbye, but it is definitely a farewell for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Well stated. Gonna have to wean you off onto a board for a little while, because I don't think you're just gonna be able to shut this off. All right. Unless there's anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We stand adjourned. We will take just a quick break and return with the committee of the whole meeting in just a few minutes. Thank you.
mic was on. Katie, are you ready? All I see is your dog right now. Very cute dog. Tell you what.
I don't believe so. Nope.
Katie, can you put your dog back on?
What's that?
Can you put your dog back on?
Oh. She's really cute.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Welcome back. I'm going to go ahead and call to order the Columbus Common Council Committee of the Whole meeting for April 6, 2020. The time is now 7:42 p.m. Pat, if you could please take a roll call.
Gray is absent. Johnson?
Here.
Reed? Here. Ryan?
Here.
Tylen?
Here.
Tome?
Here.
Trexler?
Here. All right, this meeting was noticed in accordance with state statutes and local ordinances. The first thing up we need to do is approve the agenda. We can strike item number 9 from the agenda. We do not need to discuss the temporary accounting services any longer.
I'll move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All right, thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
All right, the agenda is approved. Next up is number 4, citizen comments. Is there anybody online here or on the phone that would wish to speak during citizen comments? Please say so now. And there's also no one present in the room here that wishes to speak. We'll go ahead and move on to item number 5, committee minutes. Tonight we have the committee minutes from the HLPC from March 11th and the library board from February 27th. Any questions or comments on the committee minutes? Seeing none. All right, first up tonight is Interpack donation of playground structures for the Warner Street Park. Information is in the packet here about this. Amy Jo is on the line if you have questions. I don't know if Amy Jo, if you want to present this at all, or
I'm sure. It just basically, Interpack would like the city's blessing in order for them to move forward to purchase the playground equipment for the Warner Street Park. Second phase edition.
Thank you.
That's pretty much about it. They're ready to move forward.
All right. Trina?
Do you have any questions?
Oh, just a small question for the playground equipment. It looks like everything for this one has to do with climbing. I was trying to remember what the other set they donated had.
Say that second part again?
The current one we're looking at, it's all climbing equipment for the kids, and I was trying to remember what types of equipment parts were given beforehand.
Oh, sure. It's similar. It has some climbing equipment, but it has a lot of interactive play items as well as slides and monkey bars and climbing structures. was the first phase. And this is just, more physical activity things that they want to add.
Thank you. This looks fun. I was just trying to remember what was already there.
Yep, and Enerpac will have the same colors that they have on phase 1. That was just the mock-up that was drawn up. So they'll have the gray and the yellows again.
Okay, thanks, Amy Jo.
Any other questions?
Any more questions for Amy Jo or comments about the agenda item? Mayor?
Hi,
I have a
Amy Jo.
question.
I don't really have a specific question about the donation of that. That's wonderful. I guess what I'm hoping that we'll see between now and the installation is more of a site plan of what the playground's going to look like with the addition of this equipment. I'm assuming you're probably working with Enerpac between now and then as far as how to lay it out in the park, etc. Whether this is connected to the other set of playground equipment or separate. I know there's quite a bit of space there right now.
Definitely. We will provide a rendering to City Council. We'll let you know the date that we hope for it to happen before any construction starts on the site. So yeah, we'll show you the renderings of what it looks like.
Excellent. And this is just to allow Enerpac to go out and order this. I believe there's a fairly lengthy lead time to get the equipment in, but the intent is to have this installed this year, correct?
Yeah, they didn't want to order it if they didn't have their blessings from City Council. It's
Okay.
a lot of money.
All right. All right. Thank you, Amy Jo.
Katie, did I hear you chime in?
Yes, but actually the mayor had a similar question to what I was wondering where in the park additional equipment would go. So
Okay.
if that's still in the works, I no longer have a question.
Yeah, I'll show you the drawings.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Everyone okay moving this forward to the next regular meeting? All right. Good. Okay. Thank you. Oh, hold on.
Thank
Lost
you.
my agenda. Thank you, Amy Jo. All right. Next up, number 7, consider and discuss site plan for Butterfly Garden near the wastewater treatment plant. Matt, looks like you're signed in and ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Now that we've kind of worked our way through the timeline with the MOU with both Senview and Oddfellows, the next step was to try to lay out the park and where's the Butterfly Garden area going to be and work through some of the other issues. So what I attempted to do was I took a first stab at laying things out. Where things are on this conceptual plan aren't that important, to be honest with you. But they are to scale, so they should give you some sort of context to how much space they'll take up. So I want to have some discussion on naming, parking, and then the use of the excess land are really the 3 big issues that we need to figure out tonight. So I'll just go right through it in order. Parking, according to our code, for a recreational or sports facility, for an outdoor sports facility, it's determined by the Plan Commission. I put in my comments that probably starting with about a smaller lot for 10 cars makes sense. I don't think we should have utilize the on-street parking there. I think we should provide an off-street lot. Whether you just want to use a grass area and designate it or put gravel in, I think there's probably a benefit to putting like a little gravel lot in so it doesn't get ripped up this time of year. But that's to the discretion of the council. But that's something I think that probably needs to be considered. Obviously, the naming, as I discussed at the last meeting, we don't want to. This may not be a permanent park, so maybe we want to call it, keep it something simple, something like a crawfish recreational area or something along those lines. And then we need to have a discussion on the use of the excess land. Right now, there's 3.8 acres that's tillable. So that's what Mr. Senhen farms right now. Well, that means there's 2.8 acres that we'll have to do something with and maintain. So having that initial discussion on what we want to do with that land, I think makes sense. And then I did put in there maybe start at some point have some sort of site plan where you have identify future trail development along the river, if that's what the intention of the council is. But tonight, I just wanted to get feedback on what the council would like to see on the site. So, any questions?
Questions for Matt? All right, Matt, as far as the parking goes, I think, my opinion is it should be something that's, gravel. You're gonna lose the grass one way or the other, whether it's to cars destroying it or there being gravel on top of it. You're gonna pick your poison there. I think it's probably best that you use gravel, for the parking. How big does it need to be? I don't know. 10 cars, 20 cars. I mean, I think your thing said 20, but your memo says, start with at least 10.
Yeah, I guess my intent was, well, when I drew it out, I did 10 thinking that's all we needed, and then when I wrote it up, I said 20, and I was like, I left it, or I wrote the memo before I did the site plan, I guess I should say. But I left the 20 in there for context. I mean, obviously you can visualize what half of that box would look like. It's probably easier to start with smaller, and you can always add as it grows, as the park it becomes more of a destination.
My thought is, at the very minimum, we have to consider some other vehicles that might park there, like a school bus from the charter school or the grade school or whatever. I think we should consider that there needs to be space for that when coming up with the plan.
Just so you know, the size I calculated, I estimated by our zoning code requirements. So a standard stall is 9 by 19, 9 feet by 19 feet long. And then usually we require 24-foot lanes. So I kind of just guesstimated based off of our zoning requirements to come up with the size. So I'm sure if I had Jason or somebody try to actually design it, it might be a little bit less than what I show on the map, but it was at least based on our zoning code. So.
Trina?
Oh, no, I'm just in agreement with Traxler on both the need to make sure it's large enough for a couple cars plus a bus, just in case, and also on the idea for just starting with gravel, because we don't want anyone getting stuck in some mud. Also, just wondering if we were playing with, different spots where the parking could go. Is the easement lot only for farmer use on the map? Okay.
From my understanding, there's an old foundation or something in that area that John Niemer pointed out that has some stability so they can park their semis and trucks when they're loading, because they don't want them loading and unloading on the road. So that's going to be an area right there specific to heavy trucks or agricultural trucks.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was wondering why the easement portion was right next to the butterfly garden and the visitor parking was further away, but that makes sense. I guess I'm wondering if possibly it should just be one huge parking area over there with the trucking part cordoned off. I don't know, it's something to look into.
Just to clarify, the truck parking would only be 4 to 5 days a year. So.
Okay. Jason or Katie, did you have anything from home to add on this or questions?
I don't have any.
I'm on board with the at least 20 stalls. I think you brought up a good point about the bus, Andy. So, yeah, and gravel for sure.
Trina?
Oh, might we want to have some sort of naming contest to help the public become more interested and aware? Might be fun. Otherwise, yeah, it might just be Crawfish Nature Center. I don't know.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to make the same comment. Anyway, I agree with, let's plan on 20 sites and gravel. rather than put 10 in and then have to add 10 more if we're gonna have buses or other things out there. The naming, I kind of agree with what Matt's saying, is it could be something somewhat generic like the Columbus Crawfish recreational area or whatever. But I don't think it would hurt to maybe have a contest either, just to get suggestions from the public. I mean, we've got a lot of spare time on our hands right now. I have a few ideas, but you know, I just don't want to. I don't want to throw them out in my position. I guess I'd rather hear what the community's thinking, and so they can get an idea of the spirit of this project. That there's an educational component. It's next to the wastewater treatment plant. It's a partnership with the Oddfellows, so I would be open to maybe just tossing it out there and seeing if we could have some sort of easy submission form online for ideas, something creative for the community to participate in.
Yeah, I support that as well. Definitely something that we don't need to figure out tonight, but I would support a naming contest. I mean, I'm assuming you're not going to name it after me like you should, but as far as the excess land goes, I think that could be an opportunity as well. I'll admit I'm not exactly sure how, but I think, you know, in conjunction with the schools, maybe there's a way to plant other things outside of that butterfly garden, in consultation with, you know, the Oddfellows. I mean, you want to make sure it's something that wouldn't, you know, make the butterflies go away. You know, you want to attract them. So I think maybe there could be some more use there, or maybe in the future, I've heard whispers of maybe a walking trail that goes through and around the park, and you could use some of that land for that. We certainly don't have a lot of those opportunities in town now, so we spent a little bit of money on a gravel trail that went through, wrapped around, went through, and you know, whatever, you can get a nice little loop out of it and take advantage of the space, and it's pretty cheap. Trina.
Yeah, so Traxler, you kind of beat me to it. I was just wondering about the possibility of figuring out a possible trail path before the plants start going in. Just might make things a little easier.
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. I think you guys can decide if that's something that you want Matt to pursue or the mayor. I don't know. Mayor, go ahead.
If I remember correctly, and Matt can butt in if he remembers differently, but I think part of the process that the Oddfellows wanted to do is that they have to till the land for like 1 year before they can put anything in there. And the farmer's going to come in and do a deep till to pull out all the roots of the existing crop that's there. So I don't think that we're going to be putting any plants in this year for the butterfly garden. I think you have to treat the soil in a certain manner to get the butterfly garden installed. That's my understanding. So we've got time to talk about placement of trails or benches or other partnerships in this whole thing, I think. But I think we've got a lot of time to continue to talk about that, if I understand the project correctly. So
That was my recollection as well, but I'm not an expert in that sort of matter. I just remember in our conversation with the Oddfellows, that's what they told us last fall. So
yeah, that's what I remember as well.
Okay. So what would you guys like? Oh, sorry, Trina.
Oh, no, I was just trying to say, do we have any idea when the till might happen?
Oh, no.
The agreement that we just approved at the last meeting, things should be coming together pretty quickly, I think, with the farmer, because they won't be planting again this year, and that was part of the agreement, was in exchange for paying rent for the final year. They would come in and do a deep till, so hopefully soon. And I'm assuming that the Oddfellows want to kind of get rolling with this, and they need that till first before they can go and start cultivating and working the soil. So
Thank you.
I do think in general we just need to kind of continue the conversation with Matt in developing the site plan, because as Andy said, if they need certain conditions for their butterfly garden, we don't want to do something adjacent to that that's going to work against what they're trying to accomplish, but we want to get some sort of native plantings in the rest of the acreage that's gonna be maintenance free, because when we did pull it out of rental for that 1 year, I know it became a liability instead of an asset at that point, and we're gonna have to plan for how we're gonna deal with that this year right away before we get looking at it. So I know John Niemer talked about maybe putting in some of the practices we're doing with the water quality trading program as an educational tool on site right there, and putting in some sort of a cover crop that would reduce the maintenance and the overgrowing of weeds, etc. But maybe that's something we can get a partner through the UW extension or something like that, or the county that we'll be working with anyway, to find out if there's something that's inexpensive we could get in there this year. So.
Jason or Katie, have anything else to add?
No.
Okay.
No.
So what do you guys want to do with this item? I mean, looks like you have some more discussing to do.
To me, it seems like something we're just gonna have to continue to talk about, but there's no reason to move anything forward for a recommendation or for approval if the plan commission would have to approve the parking out there. I think Matt can just kind of keep bringing this back to the new council as well, and just try to keep chipping away at the project now that we've got the MOU approved with Oddfellows tonight. So,
Okay, Matt, does that work for you?
Yeah, the one thing that pops in my mind is I was going to be working with Eric Rates on his Eagle Scout project, and we always identified this park as the place to, where you can build a sign. And I guess that gets back to how quickly we want to do the naming, because if we want to do a competition, and that will take probably a couple months to get through. I don't know if that'll meet his schedule, so we'll have to find another project, because I don't want to not utilize him for the opportunity. It's a chance for us to get some, I guess, free labor. So I just wanted to keep that in mind as we move forward.
Well, my response to that would be, we can move forward with a naming contest without council approval we're not actually naming it. So you could start tomorrow, like the city could start promoting it tomorrow, as soon as tomorrow, on getting submissions for a naming contest, and then that can be brought to a future committee of the whole, maybe that's 2 weeks from now, or maybe that's 4 weeks from now, and approve it fairly quickly. I don't think it needs to take a couple of months. I do understand that he would have a time frame, but also I also don't want to give up our stake in this land as well, in our processes, just to move something along for that project. I think we can do our best, but I think it's safest, in my opinion, to stick to what our schedule is, and hopefully he can accommodate be a part of that. So. Trina?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I was just thinking we could give a, verbal nod and a wink to put a simple naming contest out there, have it due by the end of April. And that way, first meeting in May, you can vote, choose, have a name.
I agree. And that 100% agree with that. That's where I think that's pretty easy. So, Matt, if you want to work with the cable coordinator, or maybe get something out on our social media channels, and or media coordinator, sorry.
I'm emailing her as we speak, so.
She's nodding her head as we speak, I guess.
Well, she'll get it tomorrow then.
I think she gets it now. All right. Anything else on this agenda item, you guys? Everybody okay? All right. Next up, I have number 7, consider and discuss site plan. Oh, I did that one. Sorry. Consider and number 8, consider and discuss resolution providing a sale of $1,135,000 for sewerage system revenue bonds, Series 2020. And we have Kim, and we have Greg Johnson online. We have City Administrator, Interim Administrator David Berner, who said he would be, either him or Kim would be happy to introduce this to us. So whoever wants to take the lead, feel free.
Well, Kim and I have been working with your bond consultant, Greg Johnson with Ellers, and they've prepared the documents. You've awarded a contract for the screen project for the wastewater treatment plant, and consequently you need to borrow money to pay for that. So Greg, thanks for hanging in there with us tonight.
You're welcome.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Can you, there's a couple of things that we would ask Greg to talk about in regard to the market the last few weeks and his proposal to negotiate a sale. And then answer any questions or anything else you want to present. Greg, go ahead.
Great. Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everybody. What's before you is our pre-sale report that summarizes the financing for Huber Screen projects for the wastewater treatment facility. This is proposed to be financed through revenue bonds, which would be repaid by revenues of the sewer utility. This debt is not general obligation debt, so it won't count towards the city's general obligation debt limit. The city has some other existing revenue bonds outstanding that are also pledged to be repaid by sewer revenue bonds, and some clean water fund loans that are outstanding, and some GO debt that's attributable to the sewer utility. So we've looked at our analysis at all the debt that's being repaid by sewer revenues, but in terms of where we're at with the market right now, as Dave mentioned, I want to kind of make some general comments about what's been going on in the municipal bond market and kind of a plan going forward to pay for these particular projects. Probably come as a surprise to no one that the market volatility that we've seen in the last couple of weeks, the municipal bond market really has not had an exception for that. We've seen rather significant swings in interest rates from week to week. Major bond indices that we track nationally, you'll see 50 basis points increases one week, which is 0.5%. Following week, you'll see 50-point swings the other way, and then ongoing kind of volatility. So it's been a challenge to kind of monitor the market the last few weeks, because everyone's been trying to adapt to kind of the new reality that we've all been experiencing. But that being said, we're still seeing very good results on bond sales that are being conducted. Just today alone, we have had 5 different bond sales for municipalities around Wisconsin, and the results are still favorable when you look at interest rates over a multi-year period. So there's really, from our perspective, no reason not to proceed with capital projects. There is funding available. We'll just continue to monitor the market and advise the city accordingly based on what we see with interest rate trends. That being said, historically, when we've sold bonds for the city, both GO debt and revenue debt, we generally have done what's called a competitive sale, where we put the bonds out to bids, banks and underwriters submit their interest rates, and we award the bond sale to the bank or underwriter that submits the lowest interest rates on that proposed financing. What we've seen over the last couple of weeks that started to improve a little bit today, heading into this week, but we've seen some rather large spreads in bids that have been received for bond sales over the last couple of weeks. That's mainly just due to the volatility and some uncertainty in the overall economic condition. But one underwriter in particular that's been performing well in our competitive sales and has won a lot of the city's competitive sales in the past is an underwriter called Bankers Bank, which is located out of Madison. And they're, as the name implies, they're a bank that provides services to other banks. And one of the services they provide is they'll act as lead underwriter on municipal bond issuance and then work with local banks. They will sell that debt to local banks. Kind of in full disclosure, I know there's been discussion about the city's capital improvement projects this year that have been covered, in some of your local press. Bankers had reached out to me a couple months back to just kind of talk about the city's upcoming financing needs. We've been working with staff for several months on evaluating this project as well as some other capital needs. But they expressed a strong interest in, looking at the city's bond issuance in more detail. So what we're recommending for this particular bond sale is doing what's called a negotiated placement. where we would identify one underwriter in advance, and essentially we would represent the city in that transaction as we've always done, and negotiate the interest rates for that particular bond issue. And the underwriter we are recommending is Bankers Bank. They have one of their customers is Farmers and Merchants, one of the city's primary banks. They've expressed a strong interest in purchasing these bonds. They've been performing very well on sales over the past couple of weeks, kind of distinguishing themselves. Kind of one, admittedly it's kind of an extreme example, but I noted it in the pre-sale report. We conducted a non-rated water revenue bond sale a couple weeks back. Bankers won that bid by 63 basis points. 1 basis point is 0.01%. So that was kind of a good example of, kind of some of the spreads that we were seeing on bond sales, which candidly is really kind of unheard of. Some of the spreads we've seen the last couple of weeks between all the different bids has been quite large, but thankfully we're starting to see those spreads narrow. So, a negotiated placement is still, a strong way for the city to enter the capital markets, secure funding. We'll continue to monitor the market as we always do, and make any, adjustments or make any changes to our recommendation if circumstances warrant. I just wanted to briefly walk through the financial analysis that's in the pre-sale report. So table 1 is the sources and uses. You're borrowing $1 million for the projects. Revenue debt has what's called a debt service reserve fund. It's a contingency that is included in what you borrow. In the event the sewer revenues aren't sufficient to repay the debt, you're required to use that debt service reserve to make the debt payments and then replenish it. You have an existing debt service reserve that will get applied, and then a new debt service reserve will be calculated. And so when we factor in the issuance expenses, these are estimates. Underwriter's discount particular will likely come less. You'll have about $1,135,000 for the total bond issuance. So in table 2, we've included our estimated interest rates. This is a 20-year financing. So again, the rates will be finalized on the date of award. I'll talk about the timeline in a moment. But we've kind of estimated these rates, and we'll continue to monitor this as we go forward. One of the items we also look at with revenue debt, you have to meet what's called a debt service coverage requirement. For all revenue debt outstanding, the net revenues of the sewer utility after you pay your operating expenses need to be at least 1.25 times higher than the revenue debt service payments. So on table 3 on the left-hand side, we have the coverage ratio just for your revenue debt. We have your existing revenue debt, these proposed bonds, and we show that coverage ratio, just based on your 2018 audited financial statements, is well over 2, in the near term, so that's a strong coverage ratio. If we look at all of your debt, sewer and general obligation, there's no legal or bond covenant requirement that has to be met for this coverage, but we like to look at that anyways. Your coverage is about 1.6. So, we're aware that you're going through a sewer rate study at the present time. This does not factor in any increase in revenue that may result from that sewer rate study. So it's a more conservative look at the sewer utility's ability to repay these bonds. Then finally, we have a chart on page 5. The last page really shows the interest rates in what's called the revenue bond index, and then the bond buyer index, which is a general obligation index. Just kind of shows where interest rates have been over the last 5 years. So this looks like a rough EKG, numbers up, down. But as you can see, we're still at a very good interest rate standpoint historically when you look at rates over the past 5 years. So the timeline, this is just before you for discussion tonight. This will come back before the Common Council at your regularly scheduled meeting on April 21st with the same resolution that was prepared by your bond attorneys. We are scheduled to sell the bonds on May 19th, the date of another regularly scheduled Common Council meeting. The results will be presented to you that evening for final consideration, and then the estimated closing date, the date the city gets the money in the bank, that's June 11th. So that's really the timeline going forward. So that's kind of an overview of the plan of finance for the sewer projects.
All right. Thank you, Greg. Any questions or comments from council? Attorney Johnson, you look, you've been quiet tonight, which is a good thing usually.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Everything, anybody else have any comments on this?
Only one question for Greg, since we'll have this on the agenda for April 21st for the pre-sale review by Common Council. Could you just kind of outline what that's going to be on the 21st, because we will have new council members seated at that time?
Sure, it's going to be this exact same information. So it'll be this pre-sale report. If there are significant changes in market conditions, you know, between now and the next couple of weeks, we may just update this to reflect that, but it'll be the exact same analysis. There'll be the, you know, comparable or identical resolution that's before you. So that common council meeting is really the official start of the process. So by adopting that initial resolution on the 21st, you're essentially authorizing us to proceed with the financing. You know, the bond sale will be awarded and accepted by the common council, brought before you for acceptance at May 19th meeting. So that April 21st meeting is kind of the actual kickoff of the process by the common council.
So you'll be asking the Common Council to approve Resolution 720 at the April 21st meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Anybody at home? Questions or comments for Greg? Up here?
Makes sense to me.
We good?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll move that to the April 21st Committee of the Whole for the pre-sale review by the Common Council.
Thank you, Greg.
Welcome. All right. Is anything else before we move on to the last agenda item? Ed?
I just want to say how much I've appreciated working with you, Alderman Traxler, and Council President Traxler, and I think you've done a fantastic job, and I've enjoyed working with you and learned a lot from you, and wish you continued success, and hope to see you on future boards and commissions. So, thank you.
Hey, thanks, Ed. And you never know. Maybe I'll run again. We'll see. I made this choice to there was a job changes in both myself and my wife's lives, and we didn't know what was going to happen. You know, if we were going to move, or if we were going to stay. And so far, we're staying. So you might be stuck with me later. Good luck. Be able to take a year or two off and see the outsider's perspective. All right, so that being said, our next agenda item is to go into closed session, which we will not resume. We will not come back to the air to go back to adjourn. There won't be any action taken tonight. With that being said, again, thanks for the opportunity to be up here to the city, to my constituents and my fellow colleagues up here. It's been a pleasure, and I can't wait to come and harass you when I'm allowed to come back in here, you know, when there's less social distancing required. So, thank you. That being said, we need a motion to go into closed session for item number 10, which is to adjourn to closed session pursuant to state statute 19.85. Sub 1 sub E, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investment of public funds, or conducting other public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session, specifically to discuss potential developments in the city of Columbus. I need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session for the reasons just read.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to go into closed session. Pat, if you could please take the roll call on that.
Reed? Ryan?
Aye.
Tylen?
Aye.
Tome?
Aye.
Traxler?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Okay.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We're going into closed session. We're now in closed session. So thanks for everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.